Welcome back, everybody. Today we'll be taking a look at a Chris Reeves sebenza, large sebenza, the full 21.8 centimeters long, whatever, Chris Reeves made knife. This thing is beautiful. Nice thick blade, low riding thumb studs that don't dent your pockets, good sharp edge, good finger choils all the way down. I've got big hands and there's handle on both sides of my hand. This is not the original lanyard. It usually comes with a paracord lanyard. I took that off. We got my own on here. Titanium scales, full titanium, that are frame lock. No blade play. Once that sucker locks up, you have no blade play whatsoever. We have a full ramp here in the back with jimping all the way up. This thing is beautiful. Your thumb locks in and your thumb ain't going anywhere, and you can really get those push cuts going. Do wish it had a forward finger choil. That's a personal peeve of mine. I'm sorry if I'm getting close to the camera and you lose sight of the rest of the knife. I'm trying to keep it to where you can see what's going on here. Chris Reeves has won a lot of awards for making their knives. They have made knives since like 2000, maybe the 90s. I'm not positive. But these are beautiful knives. They're large and they're built like a tank. Now, unlike some knives, like my favorite sebenza knockoff of sorts, you can kind of see the similarities there, is most knives today are very flippy. Like they're usually set up to where they just fly open with a flick. This does not fly open with a flick. You see that? It's a very hydraulic, slow action knife blade. And for some people, that's a turnoff. I get that. I do wish that they would put washers in their knives. Or better washers in general. I don't know. Just a little bit more flippy. But that's fine. I personally like this knife a little bit better. It's a little smaller. This is the Land 9104, made by Sanrin Mu, which also makes Spyderco knives. It's a little shorter. You can kind of see the design cues between the two. Excuse me, got burps. Just a better knife, in my opinion. And $30, excuse me, versus $450, almost $500 for that. Like, you can buy a lot of these for one of those. But we're talking about the Chris Reeves knife here. This knife is great. I have no complaints with it whatsoever. What you get, you are getting good. This thing, what they give you, is phenomenal. They give you a high quality knife. You can, if you get enough action, flick it open. Especially if you loosen the screws just a little bit. Which, if you do that, you get a little bit of blade play. But if you keep them snug, it's great. There we go. Almost, I have my hand curled back here, and I almost scraped my hand. Oh boy, gotta be more careful. Surprisingly, over the years, I have only had like 5 scratches from knives, and I handle knives a lot and use them a lot, and I've only, not to brag, but I think I'm pretty good around knives. But just a great large knife. It's built like a tank. It's built simple. It's easy to clean. It's easy to maintain. You go out in the woods with this, you're going to have a good time. This thing could skin game. This thing could probably baton through a log. I wouldn't recommend that. You really don't want to do that with any folding knives. Not even Cold Steel's lockbacks with the triad locks. I wouldn't even want to do that with some of those. It's just a folding knife thing. But most folding knives can hold up to batoning. You just don't know which ones will and won't hold up. But it is a large knife. It sits large in the pocket. You can almost front flip that sucker, but I would not recommend it. It's just a beautiful knife. It's big, it's large, it's wonderful. Thick blade, thick scales. It's solid, it's a tank. It's just a good knife. If you're thinking about getting a Chris Reeves sebenza and you've got the money, go for it. You're going to get something good. Now, if you don't have the money and you want something like a sebenza, go with the Land 9104. It's a 9 series from Land Knives, and I think these are better than the sebenza. They match the quality of the sebenza with less price, which I think is wonderful. Sebenza really needs to amp up their game. Their knives, they need to use less premium metals on their blades and just make them a little cheaper. Sub $100, please. But for $34, you get this knife. And if you want something kind of like a sebenza, but not a sebenza, I highly recommend that. But if you're a diehard and you want a sebenza, go with a sebenza. I think you cannot go wrong with it. Pick this up at Goodwill. I hope it's a sebenza. I hope it's not a clone, but it's very good. It's very strong. You can't go wrong with it. Thank you for listening to me rant. I hope to see you all in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.